They are a mysterious band of space marines who often arrive on the battlefield when Imperial forces find themselves most in need of reinforcements. They are
Legion of the Damned. That's right, I was able to find the book Legion of the Damned, the mysterious chapter who got lost in the warp and cursed to die in battle. You have no idea how hyped I was when I went to Half Price Books and found this. Now, I didn't know much about the chapter to begin with, except that they tend to just appear at the last minute to help out fellow Space Marines and then disappear out of nowhere. And that not much is known about them, and I was really excited to find out more about the Legion of the Damned. And while going through this book, the amount of information you find out based on the Legion of the Damned pretty much amounts to about nothing! It amounts to nothing! I'm not joking. This book is not about the Legion of the Damned at all. Oh, they're foreshadowed, and they do show up. They show up at about maybe that part of the book. Nothing here. Just this. At most. Okay, and yeah, I know the lore is that they show up at battle at the very last moment to help out, and then they leave out of mysterious circumstances. And hey, you know what? I fell for the joke, okay? But it wasn't a funny joke. Really? Legion of the Damned? You named the book Legion of the Damned, and you don't make it about Legion of the Damned. You know, I'm not an angry reviewer. I don't like to be an angry reviewer, and just that alone really upset me. Okay, I can't do this right now. Okay, I can't do this.
Hey, don't you have a book review to do?
Yeah. Alright, give me a second. Legion of the Damned. Okay, I know I got really upset last time, but if I were to be completely honest, ignoring the title, this is a pretty good book. Okay, it wasn't what I was expecting, obviously, but once you get past that, it is a pretty enjoyable book, and it is really fun to read. Just ignore everything about the title. So, let's begin. The Legion of the Damned was written by Rob Sanders. Rob Sanders is a freelancer writer for the Black Library. His first piece of fiction was published for Inferno magazine, and he has written multiple short stories and a lot of novels, including Redemption Corps, Atlas Inferno, and I believe his most recent to date was a Horus Heresy novella, The Serpent Beneath. Now, when we start off this book, we actually start pretty close to the end of the book. Yeah, it's one of those stories where it's pretty much an entire flashback. And because of that, it does kind of spoil some things. You see, in the beginning of the book, it takes place right after a very massive battle on a planet in which everybody was killed. Demon and Space Marine alike, and all the inhabitants on the planet. So once you know that, you know everybody in the book is going to die. But the question is, what happened that caused it? And that's when the really interesting stuff starts to happen. Now, once we get into the flashback, the book focuses on a Space Marine chapter called The Excoriators. And the Excoriators are successor chapter to the Imperial Fist. And in all honesty, I never heard of the Excoriators, so if the book was named The Excoriators, I probably wouldn't have been as hyped. But it doesn't excuse the lie. Okay, sorry, I promise I'm going to try to calm down. And it centers around the chapter Scourge. With the Excoriators, I believe the Scourge is the equivalent to the chapter Champion. You see, in a previous battle, which feels like there was a book that happened before this that I haven't read, I'm not sure if that book exists, but the Scourge failed to protect the Chapter Master and he lost the Sacred Banner to the chapter. So the Chapter Master is dying, the Sacred Banner is missing, and everybody's blaming the Scourge. So now the Scourge, called Zechariah Kirsch, I'm pretty sure I said that right, Kirsch. He's trying to redeem himself, and his Chapter Master is trying to give him the chance to do that. And the Chapter Master, in one of his few lucid states, wants to give Zechariah the chance to redeem himself, and he sends him on a special mission. The first of the mission is to win the Feast of Blades. Now, I found this part in the book very interesting. The Feast of Blades, apparently, is an arena type of tournament battle that involves all of the chapters that seceded from the Imperial Fist and the Imperial Fist themselves. And it's kind of like your typical Street Fighter kind of tournament, in which the winner has the honor of bringing the sacred relic, Thorn's Blade, the same sword that was wielded by their Primarch, Thorn. And it's at this Feast of Blades that you find out that the Excoriators are not very good fighters. At least not compared to the rest of their fellow chapters. I mean, they are just getting whooped. And of course, it's up to Kirsch to try to turn the tide. And it's weird, okay? Like, I understand that everybody is angry at him for losing the standard and failing the chapter master, even though Kirsch couldn't really do anything about it. But even when it's proved that he's the only competent fighter out of the entire group, they're still giving him crap. But anyway, after the Feast of Blades, he's sent on a special mission along with parts of the 5th Company. And on this mission, he goes to a planet called Syrtis Minor, a planet that's on a collision course with what's called the Corlocast. Okay, I know I didn't say that right, but that's as close as I'm going to be able to get. Now, what the Corlor class is this a huge Chaos Space Marine Demon army that is trailing behind some bloody comet that's coming out from the Eye of Terror. And it's this huge, dangerous crusade that's on its way to Terra, Terra being Earth. And it's just destroying everything in the path. And it's up to Kirsch and the few Space Marines he has, along with the defense force on the planet, to try to stop this. And throughout all of this, every once in a while, he gets a vision. And this vision is of somebody from the Legion of the Damned. So I guess it's foreshadowed that they're going to be in the book, the very end of the book. And the only kind of fluff we get on the Legion of the Damned is that they'll just haunt people for a couple weeks before they try to help them. Okay, I know. Ignore the fact that the Legion of the Damned is the name of the book. Just forget about that. Sorry. Now, with all that said, even though you already know everybody's going to die, I think Rob Sanders does a great job in trying to get you to connect with the characters in this book. There were a few characters I was really rooting for and I was really hoping would survive. And the sheer anarchy and the violence and the battles that are taking place, and just everything that's going on throughout this entire war, was really sucking me in. Even when I knew what was going to happen, I was still on the edge of my seat reading this book. I had a lot of trouble putting this thing down. And even when the Legion of the Damned did show up, it did feel like a Deus Ex Machina. In fact, if they didn't foreshadow it, it definitely was. It still felt like it was. So this is a book I would definitely recommend, only if you ignore the title. Don't get this if you want to learn more about the Legion of the Damned. Get this because it's a well-written book with great battle scenes, and if you're interested in the Excoriators chapter, which I'm pretty sure you probably haven't even heard of until I just mentioned it in this review, it's a good pickup. Or if nothing else, get it because the book cover looks awesome. So now I just really, I wish I could punch this, but I can't. I could just punch the lie, but the book itself is pretty good, okay? Sorry it took me so long. The book just really frustrated me. But if all that being said, that's my opinion. Take it for what it's worth. Where's my controller?